It's Monday, September 7th. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel. And here, courtesy of CalFire, we have some stunning video footage showing how to keep small fires small using a very aggressive initial attack and aggressive initial aerial attack. This weekend, the bridge fire broke out near the Forest Hill Bridge on the American River Canyon here in Northern California and was stopped within the first 24-hour burn period at about 400 acres. Check it out. This fire is located in the American River Canyon just outside Auburn. Here's Sacramento, where a lot of the heavy air tankers operate out of. Grass Valley Air Attack Base, where some of the S-2s operate out of. And the town of Auburn and the Auburn Forest Hill Bridge. This fire, once again, like the last three fires, the Caldor fire, our Bear River fire in Nevada County, and now this fire, all started near a bridge by human activity. And this fire ran up with the wind to the ridge, or along the ridge, and was stopped right along the Old Auburn Forest Hill Road. Now, this particular spot is no stranger to fire. CalFire gets in here and fights these fires nearly every year in this blazing hot American River Canyon come summertime. So a lot of the heavy timber has been burned out of here, making it a little bit easier to catch this fire early on. Now here on my June 25th update, we showed you the Forest Hill Bridge, and this is where the fire occurred, starting down along here along the bridge and then running up the ridge towards Forest Hill. So you can see some of the burn areas from before and then still some of the timber and brush that the firefighters had to contend with. Now, CalFire put together a neat series of clips and posted them here on Facebook, and we're going to play it again with their permission. First, let me tell you about this shot here. This is Lead 505. This is a CalFire OV-10 Bronco, and that's my dear friend, my former boss from the U.S. Forest Service. This pilot of Lead 505 started the lead plane program, or was instrumental in getting a lead plane program initiated at CalFire, and this allows CalFire pilots using the OV-10 Broncos to lead heavy air tankers in on these initial attacks and help ensure that these small fires stay small. The neat thing about this pilot, and that many of the best lead plane and forestry pilots that are out there come from a forestry background. This pilot's initial firefighting experience was as a hotshot crew member. He literally started from the ground up, and former firefighters often make the best lead plane pilots because they understand these fires first, and then the flying comes secondary. It just becomes second nature. So down here would be the heel of the fire, where the fire started. The fire's going towards the east. We're looking towards the east. This right-hand side of the fire would be the right flank. The left-hand side of the fire would be the left flank. And then behind the smoke there would be the head of the fire. So watch this run as Lead 505 takes a run on the right flank. This will be a direct attack on the right flank. Again, he's leading an air tanker in behind him on this run. He's talking to him over the radio. There's the retardant from the previous drops. That's why it's pink. He needs to extend this line. Here comes the fire right there, and he wants to extend this line or direct attack right along that right flank right there. We got a series of other clips from CalFire here. The chaparral, typical of what you see coming out of the American River Canyon, and then getting into the timber above the chaparral that, I call it high octane chaparral. Here's where it starts getting into the timber. These are digger pines and then ponderosa pines. A lot of helicopter use on this fire, able to drop water on hot spots. The road makes a perfect break to catch the fire at these roads. You got to wait for the fire to come up out of the canyon before you stop it, and they'll use a lot of backfiring techniques to burn off near the road to ease the bumping of that fire up to the road where they can catch it. Now here it looks like it's spotted over both sides. There's one of the DC-10 air tankers. Right away, initial attack using heavy air tankers.
Ran up and is burning on Forest Hill Road on both sides right now, proceeding to the east and northeast.
Both sides of Forest Hill Road, proceeding to the east and northeast. Here comes lead 505 again. Now check this out. He's going to do another attack on the right flank of the fire from the opposite direction. So now he's heading west, but the smoke makes it a little more challenging on this run, and I'm not sure if he was able to make this drop. This is another key thing the lead pilot has to do. He has to evaluate whether this drop can be made safely or not. So see this smoke right over here? He's going to get involved with that. You want to kind of get in under that smoke if you can safely, but you still need to remain high enough above the vegetation to make an effective drop. So not sure if he made a drop on that one or not. Here the helicopters are able to hop water out of the American River and drop it on the fire. Sometimes on these Forest Service fires, pulling water out of certain water sources, environmentalists prevent them from doing that for environmental concerns, and they have to dip their water from other sources. But on initial attack, it's just go, 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 and get these hot spots. Let me see if I can show you a good example of them cooling the flames with the water on a direct attack. Here's a good example of water on direct attack on these flames, cooling those flames and laying them down. But being water, those flames will eventually get going again. But you can't, helicopters can get in there at mid-slope and do those kind of things. Fixed-wing air tankers, not so much. You got to get it up to the ridge or up to a reasonable point to attack the fire with a fixed-wing air tanker and long-term retardant. Check out this dozer operation. This is the steep kind of terrain they're working on. It's just amazing they don't roll these dozers more often, but these things are very stable in very steep terrain, and so they're doing a direct, well, somewhat direct, a little bit indirect line right around. You can see the flames right next to the dozers there. And they want to get that 2 blades wide right in there. S2T. He's like one of our S2s out of our base. I can't read which number that is. Again, he's hitting the right flank of that fire. Here goes the lead. He's leading another heavy tanker on what would be the left flank of the fire. Here comes the Bach 146 from Neptune, tying that left flank back into the road here. So what the air attack is able to do is box the fire in. Let me show you one more drop across the head of the fire, completing the box of boxing the fire in with retardant. Here comes lead 505. He's going to drop across the head of the fire right here. Get in under that column. And create a retardant line right along here along the head of the fire and allow that fire to burn up to that retardant line. Hopefully these guys, the ground crews, can get in there and work with that retardant line along with the dozers and make and turn that boxed in retardant line into a proper containment line that looks something more like this.
Yeah, so the bridge fire as of today is 300 acres. We're about 5% containment right now. We expect that containment to go up through the day and into the night hours. Right now we have about 350 firefighting personnel assigned and a number of resources, including both aerial assets and ground resources. Last night and into the early morning hours this morning, we were successful in firing or backfiring operations on Old Forest Hill Road to contain the lower end of this fire, which was the number one priority. So we've got really good, strong lines on the east and southeast side, which were our priorities, specifically with the protection of the community of Forest Hill and the fire moving to the east.
Because as he said, if he had not stopped this fire in the first 24-hour burn period, this fire could have just taken off along the ridge and headed up right towards the town of Forest Hill. And the history of these fires in Northern California this year, had you not got this fire stopped in the first day, there would have been very little to stopping this fire from going all the way up and over the Sierra Nevada mountains again, like the Caldor fire and the Dixie fire. Speaking of the Dixie fire, congratulations. This fire is now nearly cost of nearly $500 million. We're approaching 1 million acres burned, and this portion of the fire down here has merged with the Beckworth complex from last year. This fire also did come down the escarpment towards the populated areas here along 395, but it came down very slowly and firefighters were able to manage that and minimize damage to any structures down there on 395. So the choice is yours. Are we going to keep small fires small with an aggressive initial attack the way CalFire does it? Or if you don't, you're going to get these mega fires. And finally, in more breaking news, there is some acknowledgement to the importance of forest management in a new article in the Los Angeles Times written by Alex Wigglesworth, How Lake Tahoe Was Spared Devastation from the Caldor Fire, and he goes into extensive research of the amount and level of forest management that went into the South Lake Tahoe area before the Caldor Fire, and how some of the best of intentions of environmentalists prevented a lot of forest management and ended up making things much worse on these fires with the increased buildup of fuel load throughout our state. Thanks so much for your support of this channel, especially over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.